There exists a law in this universe, a law as real as gravity and as absolute as the rising sun, that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And the moment you accept this truth, not as poetry but as fact, you place your feet on the path that leads to so much money you won't know what to do with it. But wealth does not begin in the wallet. It begins in the imagination. Riches do not appear first in bank accounts. They are born first in the realm of thought. It is the man who thinks in gold who draws gold into his life, the one who sees only lack. He attracts poverty with equal precision. You must train your mind to see wealth where others see struggle, to see opportunity in the midst of chaos, to find diamonds in the dust. Most people never accumulate wealth, not because they are not capable, but because they never decide to. The world has trained them to doubt, to hesitate, to play it safe, but wealth favors the bold, the focused, the relentless. Think deeply on this. The amount of money you will possess tomorrow is the result of the ideas you plant in your mind today. If you plant thoughts of lack, fear, and limitation, your harvest will be just that, scarcity. But if you plant thoughts of abundance, service, value, and vision, oh, what a harvest you will reap! And don't you dare believe the lie that says money is evil. Money is neutral. It is a servant, a tool, an amplifier of intent. In the hands of a wise man it feeds nations. In the hands of a fool it fuels destruction. Money is not the goal. It is the reward for bringing immense value into the lives of others. You are paid in direct proportion to the problems you solve and the faith you hold. There will come a day, if you do not quit, when the money begins to flow so abundantly that it confuses the very people who once doubted you. They'll say you got lucky. They'll whisper that you had some secret advantage, but you will know. You will know it was because you worked in silence while they slept, because you believed in your dream long after the world called you crazy, and because you did the one thing most people never do, you persisted. The moment you stop trading time for money and start creating systems, solving problems, building assets, the floodgates open. This is the point where your income no longer has a ceiling, where your imagination becomes your only limitation. It's where you can wake up and say, so much money, I don't even know what to do with it. And when that day comes, let me tell you what to do. Invest it, multiply it, use it to set others free, use it to buy time, freedom, peace. Use it to create a legacy so powerful that your great-grandchildren speak your name with pride. But let us be clear, you will not arrive at this destination by accident. You will not stumble into wealth. You must become wealth. You must think it, speak it, walk it, live it. Every thought, every decision, every relationship must align with the man or woman you are becoming. You must act like you already possess it, not with arrogance, but with certainty. Wealth comes to those who prepare for it. Are you preparing? Are you ready to command so much money that it forces you to build bigger visions, higher, smarter minds, and stretch your imagination to new heights? Because money does not solve all problems, but it gives you the power to solve any problem you choose. So do not chase money, chase mastery, chase impact, chase growth, and money will chase you. Today is the day you must decide to stop playing small. You were not born to be average. You were born to be abundant. Refuse to accept mediocrity. Refuse to walk in circles while others sprint. Commit fully, fiercely, to becoming the kind of person who can handle wealth. So much wealth that you'll laugh at the idea of limits. So much wealth that you'll need advisors to help you manage it. So much wealth that your life becomes proof that faith, discipline, and burning desire are still the most powerful currencies on earth. Speak this truth to yourself every day. I am the architect of my fortune. I think riches, I speak riches, I attract riches, and the world will conform to the image I hold in my mind. Because that is the ultimate secret. You don't get rich. You become rich, and then the money comes. All wealth begins with a single seed, the seed of thought. The man who masters his mind masters his destiny, for the mind is the workshop of creation, the birthplace of riches, and the compass that directs the ship of life. Before gold ever fills the vaults, it fills the imagination. Before fortunes appear in the physical world, they are first etched in the invisible world of thought. You may have been led to believe that money is earned through labor alone, that it flows only to the educated, the lucky, or the well-connected. But the truth is far simpler and far more powerful. Riches are drawn to the individual who trains his mind to expect them, who holds in his thoughts a definite picture of prosperity, and who refuses to let fear, doubt, or limitation invade that mental image. Every great fortune in history was first a vision, clear, detailed, unshakable. The skyscrapers, the empires, the banks, the industries, they all existed first in the realm of thought. The man who built them simply refused to let his vision die in the cradle of imagination. He fed it, he nurtured it, he gave it life through persistence, belief, and action. It is not external circumstances that determine your wealth. It is your internal conversation, the words you whisper to yourself in the dark. The beliefs you hold when no one is watching, the mental pictures you rehearse in silence. If these are full of doubt, fear, scarcity, and insecurity, then wealth will always elude you. But if they are saturated with confidence, clarity, expectation, and abundance, then you become a magnet to riches of all kinds. Understand this, your thoughts are not idle, they are seeds, and every seed bears fruit after its own kind. Plant thoughts of lack, and your harvest will be lack. Plant thoughts of prosperity, and your harvest will overflow. The soil does not discriminate. It gives back what you plant. Your mind is the same. It does not care whether you plant weeds or wheat. It will grow whatever you sow with repetition and emotion. Do not make the mistake of thinking wealth is only for others, that it belongs to the fortunate, the chosen, the few. Wealth belongs to the one who is willing to believe he is worthy of it, who trains his thoughts daily, who disciplines his mind like a master shapes a blade, sharpening it, refining it, focusing it. And when that mind becomes saturated with wealth consciousness, money becomes an obedient servant. You must begin to see yourself as a wealthy individual before the world reflects it back to you. Walk, speak, and think as though you already possess abundance, not in arrogance, but in certainty. The world responds not to your bank balance, but to your belief. When you believe firmly in your vision, the world will bend itself to accommodate your faith. Start today by disciplining your inner world. Cast out every thought of limitation. Refuse to entertain ideas of failure. Do not dwell on your current situation. Dwell on your desired situation. Picture the life you want with such vividness and frequency that your subconscious begins to accept it as fact. And once it does, your behavior, your habits, and your results will begin to shift. There is no virtue in poverty. There is no honor in living beneath your potential. The Creator endowed you with infinite power, the power to choose your thoughts, to hold a vision, to direct your destiny. Use that power, harness it, direct it toward a definite aim, financial freedom, not for selfish gain, but for the ability to serve more, do more, and become more. Every morning, rehearse your vision. See it, feel it, believe it. Every evening, give thanks for the fortune that is already yours in the invisible realm. Let no day pass without watering the seed of wealth in your mind, and when doubt creeps in, and it will, you silence it with faith. You remind yourself that riches are not a matter of chance, but of choice, and you have chosen to be wealthy. The mind, once fixed upon a clear picture, backed by emotion and belief, becomes the most powerful force in the world. With it, mountains are moved, empires are built, and fortunes are created. All you must do is begin. By thinking like a wealthy man, the rest will follow. Riches do not come to the man who wishes for them. They come to the man who decides, with boldness and finality, that he will have them. There is a power in decision that surpasses luck, talent, and even intelligence. For decision is the fire that forges action, and action is the bridge between the invisible desire and the visible result. Every wealthy man, every creator of fortune, every master of destiny, without exception, first reached a point in life where he declared to himself and to the universe, "I will become wealthy. I will no longer accept scarcity. I will no longer tolerate mediocrity." And with that declaration, something changed within him. His thoughts sharpened, his direction became focused, and his energy, once scattered, aligned itself with a single outcome. Most men never become wealthy because they never truly make that decision. They hope, they wish, they daydream, but they do not decide. To decide means to cut off every other option. It means to burn the boats, to close the door to retreat, and to plant both feet on the path of prosperity with no intention of turning back. A man who decides to become wealthy stops talking like a victim. He stops blaming the economy, his upbringing, or the government. He takes full ownership of his life. He understands that while he may not control the winds, he does control the sail, and with proper decision he can chart any course. Look closely and you will see, those who drift through life financially unstable often carry an indecisive spirit. They hesitate, they delay, they wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect guarantee. And while they wait, time passes, opportunity fades, and their potential withers in the soil of hesitation. But wealth has no interest in waiting for the timid. It dances only with those who pursue it with intensity, with certainty, and with unwavering commitment. The moment you decide to become wealthy, everything begins to shift. Your thoughts align with your desire, your habits transform, you begin to seek out knowledge, opportunity, and connections that once seemed invisible. Why? Because your decision acts like a magnet, pulling resources, people, and events into your orbit. Now, let us be clear, decision alone is not enough. It must be backed by action, by persistence, and by faith. But without decision, none of those will ever begin. 1,000 talents are wasted daily because they are not directed by decisive minds. 1,000 dreams are buried because they were never claimed with conviction. When you decide to become wealthy, you do not wait for permission. You do not ask for approval. You do not concern yourself with the opinions of those who fear your ambition. You move, and you move with purpose. Let others watch, let them question, let them doubt, but you have decided. This decision becomes the compass for your life. It governs your time, your energy, your choices. You begin to think in terms of investment rather than expense. You value learning over entertainment. You seek challenge over comfort. You realize that every decision either brings you closer to wealth or delays it. There is no middle ground. There is no neutral position. Life responds to the bold, not the hesitant, and the world does not reward potential. It rewards the man who executes, who acts, who decides. So ask yourself now, and ask honestly, have I truly decided? Or have I merely hoped? The man who has decided does not wake up with confusion. He wakes with direction. He does not waste hours in doubt. He spends them in creation. And he does not shrink in the face of failure, for he knows that temporary defeat is simply the stepping stone to permanent success. You can trace every fortune back to a moment of decision. A moment when someone somewhere drew a line in the sand and said, "This is it. I will no longer live in lack. I will no longer be ruled by fear. I will create wealth, not just for myself, but for those I love, and for the world I will impact." That moment can be now. You do not need permission. You do not need perfection. You need only to decide with all your heart and soul that you will become wealthy and that nothing will stop you. And from that moment, the universe begins to rearrange itself to match the clarity of your choice. Decide and watch what happens. Money does not chase men, it chases value. And value, my friend, is the product of service. The greatest fortunes known to history were not built by selfish desire alone, but by individuals who made it their mission to solve problems, improve lives, and deliver something the world needed, something the world was willing to exchange its money for. You must come to see money not as a mystery, not as a miracle, not as the lucky inheritance of the chosen few, but as the natural consequence of providing exceptional value. When you internalize this truth, everything changes. You stop chasing money like a beggar and start creating value like a king. You stop asking, how can I get paid? And begin asking, how can I serve more? How can I solve more? How can I elevate others through my work? You see, the world is not stingy. It is not withholding wealth from you. It is simply waiting to see what value you will bring to the table. Money is a certificate of appreciation. It flows in proportion to the usefulness of your ideas, the scale of your service, and the boldness of your contribution. The man who enriches others cannot help but be enriched himself. You need not manipulate, deceive, or cheat to gain riches. That is the path of fools, and it always leads to ruin. But when you devote yourself to excellence, to mastery, to becoming the absolute best at what you do, the market takes notice, the people take notice, and money begins to flow, not as a bribe but as a thank you. Think of the men and women who rise to the top of any industry. Are they the laziest? Are they the most entitled? No. They are the ones who have made themselves indispensable. They have studied their craft. They have found a way to do it better, faster, stronger, more intelligently, and because of that, the world rewards them, not out of kindness, but out of necessity. You must train yourself to think like a producer, not a consumer. The consumer spends, the producer creates, the consumer reacts, the producer initiates. The consumer waits for opportunity, the producer builds it with his own hands, and in doing so, he makes himself valuable. He becomes the answer to someone else's need, and money flows to him accordingly. Do not waste your time complaining about what you don't have. Instead, get busy building what others want. Whether it's a product, a service, a solution, or an idea, if it eases pain, solves a problem, or fulfills a desire, then it holds value, and value is always rewarded. Money responds to the law of compensation. You are compensated not by chance, but by the quantity and quality of service you render. If you want more money, you must either serve more people, serve at a higher level, or solve bigger problems. That is the equation. Simple but never easy, and understand this, value is not defined by you. It is defined by the marketplace. It is not enough to believe you are valuable. You must become valuable in the eyes of those you serve. That means learning their needs. That means becoming obsessed with improvement. That means staying ahead of the curve and never settling for average. You were not born to be mediocre. You were born to become a master. And when you commit yourself fully to that path, money begins to seek you out. It will arrive in forms you never expected, from places you never imagined. You won't need to chase it. It will come as a result of who you've become. So, stop asking when the money will come and start asking how you can increase your value. Build yourself into someone who cannot be ignored. Make your work so excellent, so needed, so irreplaceable that the world must reward you because it cannot afford not to. This is the secret that separates the poor from the prosperous. The poor think in terms of getting, the prosperous think in terms of giving, and because they give more, they earn more again and again until wealth becomes not an event, but a habit. Let that be your path. Become so valuable that money flows to you like breath to lungs, like waves to the shore. Let your service speak for itself. Let your work prove your worth, and let the money be the natural, inevitable consequence of a life lived in value. Riches are never handed freely to the man who merely wants them. They are reserved for the one who will not quit, the one whose desire burns so fiercely that it refuses to be extinguished by failure, rejection, or the slow passage of time. Wealth is not for the weak-willed. It is not for the dreamer who acts only when it's convenient. It is for the man or woman who persists through storms, through droughts, through darkness, holding firm to a vision the world has not yet seen. The average man tries once or twice and stops. He dabbles, he dips his toe into opportunity, but pulls back the moment he feels resistance, and so life mirrors his effort, a little gain, a little success, but never the break through he secretly longs for. Why? Because he did not persist. He did not carry on after the applause faded. He did not push when the ground beneath him trembled. He expected riches without the price of endurance, but the one who becomes wealthy understands that failure is not final. He understands that every setback is merely feedback, information to refine the approach. He does not see defeat as a wall, but as a bend in the road, and while others stop and turn back, he moves forward again and again until the barriers fall before him. You must learn to welcome resistance, for it is the sign you are moving in the direction of growth. There will be days when nothing works, weeks when money doesn't come, months when your efforts seem invisible. And that, precisely, is where most turn away. But you, if you are to succeed, you must persist. Persistence is the test life gives to determine your seriousness. Are you committed, or are you merely interested? The man who is merely interested will quit when the results are delayed, but the committed man keeps building the foundation even when he sees no reward. He keeps planting seeds even if the soil looks barren. Why? Because he knows the harvest will come, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but it will come. There is a strange truth in life. Most people fail not because they lacked ability, but because they quit too soon. They stopped digging when the gold was inches away. They gave up on the business just before it turned profitable. They lost faith in themselves at the very edge of their breakthrough. If only they had persisted one more day, one more call, one more effort, they would have stepped into fortune. You must become immune to discouragement, not blind to it, not ignorant of it, but immune. You must see it, recognize it, and keep going anyway. You must become so obsessed with your vision, so consumed by your definite aim, that you simply refuse to stop until the job is done. Persistence is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. The more you push through difficulty, the more you train your mind to see adversity not as a signal to stop, but as a cue to rise. And once this becomes your instinct, once persistence becomes part of your very nature, you become unstoppable. The world cannot hold back a man who will not give up. Circumstances may delay him, critics may mock him, even friends may doubt him, but none of it matters. He moves forward regardless, and in the end the world yields. It always yields to the man who refuses to surrender. You must ask yourself, do I truly want wealth, or only the idea of wealth? Because if you truly want it, you must be willing to persist through boredom, through repetition, through discomfort. You must outlast the obstacles. You must be willing to do the work long after the excitement has faded. There is no shortcut. There is only the decision to continue, and it is that decision, repeated daily, that separates the rich from the rest. Let others quit. Let them rest. Let them say it's too hard, too slow, too uncertain. You keep going, because every day you persist, you draw closer to the life you've imagined. Every day you persist, you strengthen the foundation upon which your fortune will stand, and when you finally arrive, and you will look back not with regret, but with pride, because you will know the truth. It was not luck, it was not timing, it was not talent, it was persistence, steady, unshakable persistence. There comes a moment in every wealth seeker's journey when he must face this truth. Trading time for money will never produce freedom. It may bring survival, it may bring comfort, but it will not bring abundance, and it will certainly not bring the kind of wealth that multiplies while you sleep. To step into the world of financial independence, you must stop thinking like a laborer and begin thinking like a builder. One who constructs systems, develops assets, and creates value that exists beyond his physical presence. You can only sell so many hours in a day. No matter how skilled you are, no matter how hard you work, time places a hard ceiling on your income unless you learn how to detach your earnings from your effort. And that is the first great mental shift, understanding that real wealth is not about doing more, but about building smarter. It is about setting structures in motion that operate with or without you. A system is anything that works consistently, reliably, and profitably, with or without your constant input. It could be a business that runs with the help of a trained team. It could be a product that sells itself through automation. It could be a piece of intellectual property that produces royalties while you pursue other ventures. These are not dreams, these are disciplines, and the man who commits himself to building systems becomes a master of time, not a slave to it. Assets are the engines of wealth, unlike liabilities, which drain your resources. Assets feed them. An asset is anything that produces cash flow, appreciates in value, or both. Real estate, businesses, intellectual property, investments. These are tools of the wealthy. The poor buy toys and trinkets, the rich buy income. Every dollar they earn is sent out like a soldier, with orders to return with reinforcements. Now understand this. Systems and assets do not build themselves. They require vision, strategy, and patience. In the beginning, it may seem as if your efforts yield little. You will work harder than others, for longer than others, with fewer immediate results. But you are not planting seeds for today, you are planting orchards for tomorrow. The employee asks, how much will I earn this week? The builder asks, what can I create this year that will pay me for the next decade? This is the difference in mindset. One looks for short-term exchange. The other looks for long-term leverage. One chases money, the other creates it. You must become a person of leverage. Someone who understands how to multiply time, effort, and results. Technology can be leveraged. People can be leveraged. Capital can be leveraged. Ideas can be leveraged. And once you learn to align these forces through systems and assets, you will enter a realm where your earning potential is no longer tied to your physical presence. There is a reason the wealthy spend their time building and investing. It is because they understand that income earned once, through effort alone, disappears, but income produced by a system, income generated by an asset, continues to flow. That is the kind of money that frees you, protects you, and outlasts you. And let it be known, building these machines of wealth is not reserved for the elite. It is not the privilege of the already rich. It is the opportunity available to any man or woman willing to think differently, act boldly, and persist with discipline. Begin where you are, use what you have, start small if you must, but start. Study business models. Learn how systems function, invest in your understanding of how assets are created and protected, build something, even if it's imperfect, build it again, improve it, refine it. And never stop building, because the moment your system begins to operate without your daily presence, you have unlocked the first doorway to real freedom. You see, the true measure of wealth is not how much money you make while working. It is how much money flows in when you are not. It is when your money works harder than you do, when your systems speak for you, when your assets grow while you sleep. The man who understands this stops asking for more hours. He starts building more income streams. He stops thinking like an employee and starts thinking like an owner. And in doing so, he escapes the trap of time for money and enters the realm of compounding wealth. So build, my friend, build the systems, build the assets, and soon you will not just make money, you will multiply it. It is one thing to desire wealth. It is quite another to become the person who can handle it. For wealth is not simply a matter of receiving, it is a matter of being. Until you elevate your mind, your habits, your discipline, and your character, true riches will remain beyond your reach, not because the world is unfair, but because you have not yet become equal to the reward. Many chase money thinking it will solve all their problems, but money does not make the man. It magnifies the man. It reveals who he already is. Give a poor thinker a fortune, and he will soon return to poverty. Why? Because his internal blueprint was never upgraded. He was never prepared to handle the responsibilities, the decisions, the temptations, and the strategy that wealth demands. He saw the riches, but not the mindset behind them. You must understand, the external always follows the internal. The fortune follows the formation. Before wealth can arrive in the physical, it must first be welcomed in the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. You must become the kind of person who manages money with precision, who multiplies it with wisdom, and who uses it not just for personal gain, but for powerful contribution. This means developing order. A chaotic mind cannot produce consistent success. A scattered life cannot hold on to abundance. You must discipline your thoughts, guard your energy, protect your time. You must learn to plan, to measure, to execute. Wealth is not won in bursts of emotion, but in quiet mastery of small daily decisions. Train yourself to think long term. The average man is ruled by impulse. He spends what he earns. He seeks pleasure now, ignoring the cost later. But the wealthy man sees beyond the moment. He delays gratification. He plants seeds today knowing the harvest comes in seasons. He invests while others spend. He prepares while others procrastinate. He thinks like a steward, not just a consumer. You must also elevate your self-image. A man will never earn more than he believes he is worth. If deep inside you do not see yourself as someone who deserves abundance, you will sabotage every opportunity that appears. You will shrink from success. You will push wealth away with unconscious decisions. So change how you see yourself. Speak to yourself not as a beggar hoping for scraps, but as a builder of value, as a generator of wealth, as one who walks in confidence, dignity, and worth. Build your character with the same intensity that you pursue your bank account, because without integrity, wealth is a curse. Without self-control, it is poison. The world has no shortage of men who made fortunes and lost them through arrogance, ignorance, or weakness. But the man who has trained himself in character, who has built patience, courage, humility, and discipline, he not only attracts wealth, he retains it. Study wealth not just with your eyes, but with your habits. Watch how the wealthy operate, notice how they think, observe how they plan, how they solve problems, how they lead others. These are not accidents, these are disciplines. They have paid the price to become who they are. And so must you, if you want more, become more. Do not cry for opportunity, prepare for it. Do not beg for riches, build the foundation that can support them. Begin now to live like the person you would be if you already had the wealth you desire. Speak with that authority, walk with that certainty, work with that urgency. The world does not give you what you want, it gives you who you are. So transform yourself from the inside out. Let your thoughts be focused. Let your habits be refined, let your character be strengthened, and let your belief be unwavering. You do not attract what you chase, you attract what you are. So instead of chasing riches, become rich in discipline. Become rich in mindset, become rich in vision, and soon the external world will reflect the richness you carry within. Build yourself, and money will follow. Prepare your vessel, and abundance will pour in. Develop the strength to carry the weight of fortune, and the fortune will be placed into your hands, not by accident, not by chance, but by law, the law that rewards those who first become before they ever receive.